Over here on the right side of the map, our Zerg player from the team OGS. He is OGS Luvsic. Makes my mouse go crazy when I talk about him. Over here on the left side of the map, our Protoss player, the Sith Lord Protoss, the Blink Stalker Protoss, HongUn Prime Wee. First player to ever make a carrier, recently made a carrier in the GSL, made it work. Similar to Genius, if you guys didn't watch Genius's games earlier and you want to see carriers of motherships, I recommend watching that game that he played against Symbol earlier. Watch both games. I won't tell you which one has carriers. They might both have carriers, you guys just won't know. You'll have to watch the VOD. Right now, they're cross positions. This is the final game. Cross positions, if HongUn decides to play another risky business game like we saw him play last game and go for an all-in, it does favor Luvsic. But keep in mind that HongUn can play long games. He can play that Deathball Protoss style. He's one of the first players to do that, actually. He and TSL Guinea Pig at the time, who's now moved teams to MVP. He and TSL Guinea Pig were some of the first players to start doing that Void Ray Colossus style in Korea. And, you know, HongUn's really always been kind of an interesting player and a real innovator of this matchup. He was, you know, MC showed how to do 6-gate against Zerg, and HongUn was like, no, there's a way where you can get 7 or 8 gateways even and get plus 2 and blink and have an observer. MC's like, can you really have all that on 2 base? And HongUn was like, yeah. He's like, ask any pro and I do that all the time. But really, HongUn has not adapted as other players have. He's not really gotten into that Stargate style as much as some of the other Protosses. He has not yet kind of tinkered around with the idea of taking a fast third. He just does not. He actually lets his pylon finish here, and he could, if he really wants to, make a cannon, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Anyway, enough about HongUn. Luvsic's going to have to slowly kill this cannon. He's got 4 Zerglings on the way. They're going to make quick work of it. Luvsic actually continuing to mine gas and shows that to the probe. Probe going to harass the drone to keep the pylon alive just a little bit longer. He could actually, he could actually just leave. He doesn't have to lose his probe. He is going to leave. Gateway after cannon going up here for HongUn. Very common map to see. Forge fast expand. Pylon falls. Probe will escape by the looks of things. Now, on this map, there's an easy to take third base, okay, for both races. Protoss can take this base fairly easily, as long as he has somewhat of a presence over here, or if he can hold the watchtower, for example, at all, then guess what, this base is his for free. There's only one entrance to this base, he can heavily cannon it. Yeah, the Zerg can kill those rocks, but if he does that, it's very obvious, it's a big, arduous task. He's gonna be like getting a huge concave of roaches out here where they're not really where they want to be, and they have to attack up a concave into here where there's better stalker concave. He's off creep in most cases, so yeah, HongUn can actually take a fairly easy third here. And on that note, so can Luvsic. Luvsic can take an easy third here. The Protoss can attack these rocks. There's already an Overlord waiting for that possibility when he does take that third. But, you know, this is a cool map for third bases because it's, you know, there's a risk involved in taking a third base, but you can do it fairly easily. That's why it's my favorite new Blizzard map that was introduced in the new ladder pool. Well, this probe is going to come in here to double check. Remember, it's always really important to make sure the hatchery is still there when you do a forge fast expand, because if it's not, your opponent could have canceled it, gone for a Baneling all in, you know, go for roaches. We saw HongUn fall to a little bit of pressure earlier today. Gotta be safe about that. Chrono boosting out that sentry, he's got a full wall, making a second cannon just to be safe. It's the final game here, you don't want to lose a game to something you didn't expect. Luvsic going to go for a fast third base though. As you guys can see, he did pull the drones out of the gas. I thought he mined more than 100 earlier, but I suppose I was wrong. Sorry for misleading you guys. Zergling speed is finished. He's now got control of the watchtower. He's got an Overlord positioned over here, got one over here on the right. Has that watchtower, so if I show you guys his vision right now, you can see he's got quite a bit of vision around the map. You can see any sort of push. I'd like to see him get just one unit like right here to make sure that HongUn isn't going to attack from that angle, but otherwise he would know everything HongUn is doing. HongUn adding 3 gateways, going up to 4. This is the textbook way to follow up a force fast expand to get those 4 gateways out. Allows you to not only defend against any sort of all-in you might face, but allows you to put a little bit of pressure on your opponent, take a third base. It's not an overcommitment. Back in Luvsic's base, he has started an Evolution Chamber and a Roachborn. Wants to get those upgrades out as soon as possible. Continue to drone. Checking with these earlings. Okay, he's not putting pressure on me at all. Keep droning. I have the Watchtower. I have Overlords spread everywhere. I mean, what can you really do? I'm just going to keep making drones and make this third hatchery. When my Roachborn finishes, I probably won't make roaches immediately because I don't need to. I'm just going to get my +1 missile attack pretty quick here. Hallucination is on the way, as well as +1 for HongUn. And these Zerglings keep checking that. They actually were able to see both the research of the Hallucination as well as the +1. Not only with the Overlord, but with the Zerglings. As you guys can see, Luvsic, the third base saturated. 51 drones to 44 probes. He's going to hit about 60. That's when he's going to start making the majority of his attacking. He's making a few roaches now as well, just because he doesn't want to get caught off guard with some huge HongUn blink stock or timing attack. He has to make all his roaches at once. And of course that pylon destroyed, so HongUn can move out, put a little bit of pressure on. And look at this. Where's this probe going? Oh, HongUn, you made me proud. Makes his third base. Hallucinates the Phoenix. Now go and see what Luvsic is up to. Thinking this third base sacrifices a little bit of this push that HongUn can do. You know, it's not going to be as strong as it was before, but he can still actually be aggressive if he wants to. He can move out, take the Watchtower, force some units, and go home. He can do whatever he wants with this. He can just sit back here and stay here. That's not even a terrible idea itself, but he's got so many options right now. He's getting +1 armor. Lara's on the way, +1 missile attacks as well right now for Luvsic. And HongUn actually not adding a Twilight Council nor Robo just yet. There it is. Twilight Council going down. Luvsic adding additional gases. As you guys can see, going to be going up to all of his gases. Kind of interesting thing to note about Luvsic, he actually had one gas in each base and took the other one last. He wanted to have them all spread out between his hatcheries. Interesting decision. HongUn is down on supply right now, but that's just how this matchup goes. While the Protoss tries to power up, get extra gateways. Look at this wall up by HongUn, that's pretty cool. It makes it so that if the units want to attack the gateways, they kind of have to poke up the ramp a little bit. Otherwise, you can have a situation where your gateways are here and your opponent has roaches and an Overseer or something just kind of poking out the gateways. Awkward position for the Protoss. He backs up here. I like that. Continuing to scout with these Phoenixes. Has he seen the lair tech? He knows the lair is finished here. He knows the roach speed's going to be coming up soon as well as +2. Probably wants to check right now with that Phoenix the upgrade, so. Ooh, I like this sneak in the Spire right under the Phoenix's nose. And Luvsic is not going to expect this. HongUn rather. He saw this Spire, but did he really see it? Does he know? If he looks back at this, of course he'll look, okay, that's a Spire. And I think he does, because he's making it Templar Archives right now, as well as Blink for his Stalkers. Getting extra cannons. We'll see if he makes some cannons in his main. And this is something a lot of players don't do, is they don't make cannons in their main. You know, if your opponent goes Muse and you know it, you just have to make cannons in your main. It's not an option. If HongUn's forces are at his natural, Muse are going to be able to kill probes as his main if he doesn't have cannons there. Even if he reacts immediately, sees him with like a pylon on the edge of his base, he's going to lose probes if he doesn't have cannons there. And no matter what, if there are cannons there, they're going to do a little bit of damage to Muse. Luvsic's got this elite roach squad over here that wants to kind of move out and attack this base, I think, fairly soon, but he's not quite using it yet. I think he may have missed his opportunity to. Looks like he's going to attack from 2 fronts, or maybe even get these roaches into one big roach ball and attack. Either way, this looks really scary as these roaches are about to have +2. Roach speed is about to finish. You're going to see these roaches start running. There they go. 17 roaches, by the way, in production behind this. And that Phoenix sees this. He's going to want to force field right now. Oh, and the force field a little bit late. Luvsic able to get most of these roaches up. He targets down Cybernetics Core, and guess what? That means no more Stalkers or Sentries. Those are the 2 vital units for HongUn right now. But oh no, HongUn, you do not want to send your Sentries out against these roaches like this. Now the roaches are kind of caught fighting on 2 sides, but they're doing a decent amount of trading. This is basically a July Zerg type of attack. Luvsic has just said, you know what, I have a total of 68 drones. I'm just going to attack now with roaches. I'm just going to keep hitting them over and over and over again. I'm going to constantly be maxed out. I'm going to keep trading with them, and eventually I'm going to get ahead from that. But really nice micro by HongUn, and I think HongUn actually got the better end of the deal here. Luvsic continuing to make roaches. As you guys can see, they're streaming across the map right now. No Mutalisks just yet, no flyer attacks either. Roaches do have burrow. They're going to try to run up here. HongUn force healing pretty on the spot there. Just a few roaches getting up. This cannon is under fire, but it's going to be totally fine. And ooh, actually catching some of these roaches now, but he has to be very careful. Luvsic's roach squad is heavily upgraded. Does not want to fight it in a straight up fight. Wants to be able to just kind of blink back. Yeah, exactly like that. Come up here, use the safety of those cannons to catch some of the roaches. Smartly, Luvsic's continuing to burrow here. Get those hit points back from those roaches, see how fast they regenerate. Pick off some stalkers. He's just continuing to keep his opponent's army low, not allowing HongUn to get a strong death ball oriented force. He's actually going to target down a ton of these stalkers right now. May in fact go for the Nexus, is going for the Nexus with the majority of his roaches. And that is going to fall no matter what. And now he can actually just kill these stalkers unless they blink away. They don't have a lot of space to blink to though. Man, Luvsic is just being Jelizerg here and just saying, well, I have 68 drones. I guess I'll just keep holding down my R key until he leaves the game. That is just what we're seeing here, guys. HongUn's going to die. He's going to lose 2 of his gateways here. It's crucial production he needs right now. Getting another one here. He has Psystorm with no Templar. And these gateways are unpowered now. These probes, many of them will not escape. Things looking very dire for HongUn. Luvsic with twice the supply. Taking this hatchery here. He could mine from it, but you know what he'll probably do with this hatchery is actually just use it to reinforce more roaches. 11 roaches in production right now. Hydra is still on the way. Pathogen glands, +2 carapace. Luvsic is just going to actually keep attacking at this point, I think. HongUn's got a decent concave up here. He's got a lot of blink stalkers, but Luvsic can just keep trading. That's exactly what he's going to do. Running through here, doing so much damage to these gateways. The cannon's falling immediately as well. Pulls back. It's actually totally fine though. He's going to probably start rallying in Hydras with this. And when he does so, the Hydras, he's going to want to spread some more creep. He's got that creep kind of spreading out here. He might bring some Overlords and just continue to attack with those Hydras. He can bring Infestors if he wants. He's got 3 Infestors on the way, timing it out with that Pathogen Glands upgrade. He's about to have +2 Carapace. HongUn just not in good shape here. Losing these pylons. Good force fields, HongUn. But what are you going to do? Because you can't leave your base. You can't take a third. You're trying to get a death ball. It's the only option you have. But Luvsic just keeps attacking you, so you can never be maxed out. He's always got better upgrades than you. 1-1 against 2-2. Soon to be 2-2. He's about to have some Infestors out. He's got Burrow. He's got Burrowed movement. What can HongUn reasonably do against this? There's nothing he can really do. The only thing he can hope for, like I said, is to just max out and attack. He's going to have to go for one big push. He's got 4 High Templar here. They do have enough energy for Storms. Storm not very effective against Roaches, especially because Roaches can burrow and heal so quickly. Basically, you can out-heal a High Templar Storm with the burrowed Roaches. That's how fast they heal. It is going to, though, support him in his push. He's going to have to be careful with his Roach. He's not just going to be able to sit under the Storms while also taking Stalker fire. The High Templar are also going to be really useful against these guys, the Infestors. HongUn's able to kind of sneak a third base, not a hidden third base, but a third base that Luvsic did not decide to attack right away. He's going to long distance mine from here. He needs to be doing things like this. Look at how many resources right now Luvsic has. He actually, for some reason, just now started his hive. Hold that thought. It looks like we might have our final engagement. The Templar are fungled. Remember, they don't have very much range, but they do storm, actually hitting a lot of those Infestors. But good fungals go down anyways. Guardian Shield goes up. A beautiful trade here for Luvsic. Even some infested Terrans coming down here. This may actually seal the deal as +2 Carapace is complete. The Stalkers have 2-1, but the Roaches have 2-2. Good Blink Stalker micro, but this trade is just too good for Luvsic. Yeah, HongUn's going to survive here, but for how long? With 16 Roaches and 14 Hydros on the way, Hive on the way as well. What can HongUn do? He doesn't have enough resources to keep making these Stalkers. In the middle of the map here, you can see more Infestors and even Spine Crawlers. You can't even take the Watchtower. There's even a Spore Crawler here. Can't even kill Creep with an Observer there. Taking Photon Cannons. The last thing he wants to do, but one thing he has to do when he moves out, because otherwise he knows Roaches are just going to attack and kill him. Speaking of Roaches, that Observer spots this huge Roach Hydra Force coming forward here. The Greater Spire is on the way for Luvsic as well. These High Tempo are in a really nice position. He's going to want to hit the Hydras. Only one Storm goes off, but doing a ton of damage to those Hydras. It's the only thing HongUn can really hope for at this point. Blinking his Stalkers back, but in an awkward position where his opponent has a better concave. He's kind of shuffling the Stalkers around, a lot of them not firing. He has to break down a ramp against a better concave where there are Infestors dropping Fungal Growths. Infested Terrans being dropped here as well to add some extra DPS to these units, and HongUn looking like he is actually finally going to fall apart here as more reinforcements come in. He's actually started step microing these Hydras up the ramp. Infestors doing some nice fungals. Look at these Stalkers getting very low. Oh, he traps them here. Really bad for HongUn, and look at this. Just probes dying. The Nexus has gone down. The Zealots warping in there, but that's it. GG. HongUn Prime Wii falls out of the GSL. A guy who's been around a long time. I'm sad to see him go, but he's gone. And, you know, it's going to be up to him as to whether or not he decides to requalify. Like I was saying earlier, he's really been trying to quit. He's been trying to focus on school. He's not sure if pro gaming is really the lifestyle he wants, so it's maybe the last time you guys get to see HongUn. I've said that about many pro gamers in the past with my cast of the GSL, but some of them disappear forever. Most of them make their way back here, so hopefully one day we'll see HongUn Prime Blink Stalker play again, but for now, that is it. So next up, we're going to have Nada versus Slayer Soccer. And Soccer, of course, a former Warcraft 3 player. He's now using the ID Ven, but for you know, the sake of not confusing people, I'm going to use the ID Soccer today because there's another player playing today who already has played, Finn, F-I-N, on the team OGS, and he's, of course, 4GG was his old ID. So just for today, I'm going to call him Slayer Soccer. He's a member of the team, or was a member of the team We Made Fox, and of course We Made Fox disbanded. Soccer is now playing full-time StarCraft 2, he's quit playing Warcraft 3, and so I'd like to see how he's going to do here. He actually played terribly in a lot of the games I cast of him before. I was not impressed by his play, but I said the same thing about Slayer's Brown. Slayer's Brown did okay now, so maybe the same will be said of Slayer Soccer. I'm really sometimes frustrated with Protoss players who kind of stick in one mindset or make a lot of silly mistakes over and over again, because Protoss right now are having a tough time. We need some innovators. We'll see though if Ven can do this. He's going to be playing against OGS Nada, the most consistent pro gamer of all time, someone who's been in Code S since Code S's inception. This is the first time he's fallen out, but if he does well in Code A, he might already be back in Code S by the end of the season. So keep that in mind, guys. Nada will be coming up here next. We're going to take a quick little break here as the players set up and get ready, so don't go anywhere. During the break, follow GlomTV on Twitter, follow ProxyWolf on Twitter, tweet at ProxyWolf, tell him things that you want him to hear, because during this break I will be reading all of those tweets. Don't go anywhere, guys. See you in just a bit.